Om Shri Sai Ram. Sai Satcharitha reading chapter 16 and 17, English version. Pranams to the lotus feet of Sai. The day has been full of miracles with the same vibe. Here are the chapter verses. Quick Brahmagnan. These two chapters relate to the story of a rich gentleman who wanted Brahmagnan quickly from Sai Baba. Preliminary. The last chapter described how Mr. Choker's vow of small offering was completed and accepted. In that story, Sai Baba showed that he would accept with appreciation any small thing offered with love and devotion, but if the same thing was offered with pride and haughtiness, he would reject it. Being himself full of Satchit Anand, pure consciousness, knowledge, and bliss, he did not care much for mere outward formalities, but if an offering was made in a humble spirit, the same was welcome, and he accepted it with pleasure and spirit avidity. In fact, there is no person more generous and benevolent than a Sadguru like Sai Baba. He cannot be compared to the Chintamani jewel, the Kalpataru, the celestial tree which fulfills our desire. They give us only what we desire, but the Sadguru gives us the most precious thing that is inconceivable and inscrutable, the reality. Now let us hear how Sai Baba disposed of a rich man who came to him and implored him to give him Brahmagyan. There was a rich gentleman, unfortunately his name and whereabouts are not mentioned, who was very prosperous in his life. He had amassed a large quantity of wealth, houses and lands, and had many servants and dependents. When Baba's fame reached his ears, he said to a friend of his that he was not in want of anything, and so he would go to Shirdi and ask Baba to give him Brahmagyan, which, if he got, would certainly make him more happy. His friend dissuaded him, saying, "It is not easy to know Brahma, and especially so for an avaricious man like you, who is always engrossed in wealth, wife, and children. Who will, in your quest of Brahmagyan, satisfy you? Who does not give away even a paisa in charity?" Not minding his friend's advice, the fellow enraged a return journey, Thonga, which is like horse-drawn carriage, and came to Shirdi. He went to Masjid, saw Sai Baba, fell at his feet and said, "Baba, hearing that you show Brahma to all who come to you. I too have come here all the way from my distant place. I am much fatigued by the journey, and if I get Brahmagyan from you, my troubles will be paid and rewarded." Baba then replied, "Oh, my dear friend, do not be anxious. I shall show you Brahma. Many people come to me and ask for wealth, health, power, honor, position, cure of diseases, and other temporal matters. Rare is the person who comes to me and asks for Brahmagyan. There is no dearth of people asking for worldly things, but people interested in spiritual matters are very rare. I think it is fortunate and auspicious moment when persons like you come and ask for Brahmagyan. So forthwith I show to you with pleasure Brahma with all its accompaniments and complexities." Saying this, Baba started to show him Brahma. He made him sit there and enraged him in some other talk, and thus made him forget his question for the time being. He then called a boy and told him to go to the Nandu Marwadi and get from him a loan of ₹5. The boy left and returned immediately, saying that the Nandu was absent and his house was locked. Then Baba asked him to go to the Bala grocer and get from him the said loan. This time also the boy was unsuccessful. This experiment was repeated again twice or thrice with the same result. Sai Baba was, as we know, the living and moving Brahma incarnate. Then someone may ask, why did he want the paltry sum of ₹5, and why did he try hard to get it? In reality, he did not want the sum at all. He must have known fully that Nandu and Bala were absent, and he seemed to have adopted this procedure at least as a test for the seeker of Brahma. That gentleman had a roll and bundle of currency notes in his pocket, and if it was really earnest, he would not have sat quiet and be a mere onlooker when Baba was frantically trying to get a paltry sum of rupees 5. He knew that Baba would keep his word and repay the debt, that the sum wanted was insignificant. Still, he could not make up his mind and advance the sum. Such a man wanted from Baba the greatest thing in the world, via the Brahmanyan. Any other man who really loved Baba would give him rupees 5 at once, instead of being a mere onlooker. It was otherwise with this man. He advanced no money, nor did he sit silent, but began to be impatient, and he was in a haste to return and implored Baba, saying, "Oh Baba, please give me Brahmagyan soon." Baba replied, "Oh dear my friend, did you not understand the procedure that I went through, sitting in this place, for enabling you to see the Brahma? It is in short this: for seeing Brahma, one has to give 5 things. That is, surrender 5 things. Number 1, 5 pranas, the vital forces. Number 2, 5 senses. Number 3, mind. Number 4, intellect. And number 5, ego. This path of Brahmagyan or self-realization is hard as treading on the edge of a razor. Sai Baba then gave a rather long discourse on this subject, the purpose of which is given below. Qualifications for Brahmagyan or self-realization. All persons do not see or realize the Brahma in their lifetime. Certain qualifications are absolutely necessary. Number 1, mumuksu, or intense desire to get free. He who thinks that he is bound and that he should get free from bondage and works earnestly and resolutely to that end, and does not care for any other thing, is qualified for the spiritual life. Number 2, virakti, or a feeling of non-attachment with the things of this world and the next. Unless a man feels disgusted with the things, emoluments and honors, which his actions would bring in this world and the next, he has no right to enter into the spiritual realm. Number 3, antarmukha, introversion. That is, our senses have been created by God with a tendency to move outward, and so man always looks outward and not inward. He who wants self-realization and immortal life must turn his gaze inwards and look to his inner self. Number 4, catharsis, that is, eliminating all base ideas and emotions. Unless a man has turned away from wickedness and stopped from wrongdoing and has entirely composed himself, and unless his mind is at rest, he cannot gain self-realization even by means of knowledge. Number 5, right conduct. Unless a man leads a life of truth, penance and insight, a life of celibacy, he cannot get self-realization. Point number 6, preferring Shreyas, the good, the prayers, to the prayers, the pleasant. There are 2 sorts of things, that is, the good and the pleasant. The former deals with spiritual affairs and the latter with the mundane matters. Both these are open to man for acceptance. He has to think and choose one of them. The wise man prefers the good to the pleasant, but the unwise, through greed and attachment, chooses the pleasant. Point number 6, control of the mind and the senses. The body is the chariot and the self is the master. Intellect is the charioteer and the mind is the reins. The senses are the horses and sense objects are their parts. He who has no understanding and whose mind is unrestrained has his senses unmanageable, like the stray horse of the charioteer, does not reach his destination, that is, to get self-realization, but goes through the round of births and deaths. But he who has understanding and whose mind is restrained, he has senses under control, like the good obedient horse of a charioteer, reaches the destination, that is the state of self-realization, whence he is not born again. The man who has understanding as a charioteer, that's a guide, is able to rein his mind, reaches the end of the journey, which is supreme abode of all the pervading Vishnu, the Lord. Point number 8, purification of the mind. Unless a man discharges satisfactorily and disinterestedly the duties of his station in life, his mind will not be purified, and unless this mind is purified, he cannot get self-realization. It is only in the purified mind that vivek, that is disattachment to the unreal, crop up and lead on to self-realization. Unless egoism is dropped, avarice got rid of, and the mind made desireless, which is pure self-realization, is not possible. The idea that I am the body is a great delusion, and attachment to this idea is the cause of the bondage. Leave off this idea and attachment, therefore, if you want to reach the goal of self realization. Point number 9, the necessity of a guru. The knowledge of the self is so subtle and mistake that no one can, by his own individual effort, ever hope to attain it. So, the help of another person, teacher, who has himself got real self realization is absolutely necessary. What others cannot give with great effort and pains can be easily gained with the help of such a teacher, for he has walked on the path himself and can easily take the disciple step by step on the ladder of spiritual progress. Point number 10, and lastly, grace of the Lord is the most essential thing. When the Lord is pleased with anybody, he gives him viveka and vairagya and takes him safe beyond ocean of mundane existence. The self cannot be gained by the study of Vedas, nor by intellect, nor by learning. He whom the self chooses gains it. To him, the self reveals its nature, says the Katha Upanishad. And after the dissertation was over, Baba turned to the gentleman and said, "Well, sir, there is in your pocket the Brahma in form of 50 times of rupees 250 rupees. Please take that out." This gentleman took out from his pocket the bundle of currency notes, and to his great surprise found on counting them that there were 25 notes of 10 rupees each. Seeing this omniscience of Baba, he was moved and fell at Baba's feet and craved for his blessings. Then Baba said to him, "Roll up your bundle of Brahma via currency notes. Unless you completely get rid of your avarice or greed, you will not get the real Brahma. How can he whose mind is engrossed in wealth, progeny, and prosperity expect to know the Brahma without removing his attachment for them? The illusion of attachment or the love for money is a deep eddy, that is whirlpool, of pain, full of crocodiles in the form of conceit and jealousy. He who is desireless can alone cross this whirlpool. Greed and Brahma are asunder as poles. They are eternally opposed to each other. Where there is greed, there is no room for thought or meditation of the Brahma. Then how can a greedy man get dispassion and salvation? For a greedy man, there is no peace, neither contentment nor steadiness. If there would be even a little trace of greed in the mind, all the sadhanas, that is spiritual endeavors, are of no evil. Even the knowledge of a well-read man who is not free from the desire of the fruit or reward of his actions is futile and can't help him to get self-realization. The teachings of a guru are of no use to a man who is full of egoism and who always thinks about the sense objects. Purification of mind is absolutely necessary. Without it all, our spiritual endeavors are nothing but useless show and pomp. It is therefore better for one to take only what he can digest and assimilate. My treasure is full and I can give anyone what he wants, but I have to see whether he is qualified to receive my gift. If you listen to me carefully, you will be certainly benefited. While sitting in the masjid, I never speak any untruth. When a guest is invited to the house of all the members of the household and other good friends and relations that happen to be present are entertained along with the guest. So all those that were present in the masjid at the time could partake of the super spiritual feast that was served by Baba for the rich gentleman. After getting Baba's blessing, one and all, including the gentleman, left the place quite happy and contented. Special characteristics of Baba. There are so many saints who, leaving their houses, stay in forest, caves, or hermit hermitages, and in solitude in order to get liberation or salvation for themselves. They do not care for people, other people, and also are always self-aborted. Sai Baba was not such a type. He had no home, no wife, no progeny, nor any relations, near or distant. Still, he lived in the world, which is society. He begged his hand from 4 or 5 houses, always lived at the foot of the neem tree, carried away, carried on worldly dealings, and taught all the people how to act and behave living in this world. Rare are the sadhus and saints who, after attaining God's vision, strive for the welfare of the people. Sai Baba was the foremost in these, and therefore says Hemad Pant. Blessed is the country, blessed is the family, and blessed are the chaste parents, where this extraordinary, transcendent, precious, and pure jewel Sai Baba was born. Bow to Shirdi Sai, peace be to all. Om Shri Shirdi Sai. Sai Satcharitha, English version.